Hi everybody, this is Ruben with sharpmobilecode.com, and today I'm going to show you how to use the Google Places API for Android. And if you're not familiar with the Google Places API, it's part of the Google Maps API. And kind of what I'm talking about here is if you ever use Google Maps for Android, see, let me bring up Google Maps here and center off a little. And let me zoom out a little bit. And say you want to search local places for like coffee. And you see this little screen comes up. It tells you it shows you where my current location is at. And right now I've got the location set to San Francisco, California. And then if I zoom in, I can see where from my relative location, where are my local coffee shops. So if I tap on that there, it'll bring up this nice little user interface. It'll show me the address and all that other good stuff. And just recently I had discovered, well, I had a requirement on one of my applications is that it needed to, based on the current location, I needed to find out what local businesses were around my location. And I discovered in order to do that, kind of like a Facebook check-in style, like if you ever use the Facebook app, you check in and then it gives you a list of local, places and locations and business names that are close to you. And so I needed that kind of a requirement. And so doing a little research, I discovered the Google Places API. And particularly, there is a class called the Place Picker. And the Place Picker is basically, if you see the screenshot here, is a user interface that kind of mimics what is in Google Maps API. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So basically, the code that I have here is kind of set up. I've already set up the user interface, and then you can download the source code from sharpmobilecode.com. I'll post up the source code on my GitHub. And if we look in the user interface here, it's going to be pretty simple on how to do this. We're going to have a button here called Pick a Place, and then we're going to have several text views. One of them is for the business name, the second one is for the address, phone number, and then website. So basically what this app is going to do is when I tap on the Pick a Place button, is going to bring up that user style interface. I'm going to browse through the map. I'm going to pick a place, and then it's going to return it back to the user interface, and then I'm going to populate my UI with this user interface. But in order to do that, there's several things we have to do. And so first thing is first, you're going to need a Google Maps API key. And so if you don't have a Google Maps API key already, I suggest you go ahead and do that already. I'll go ahead and leave a link on directions on how to do obtain a Google Maps API key. All right, so first thing we want to do is on your application, what you want to do, you need to install several NuGet packages. So what you want to do is right-click on your Android project and then select Manage NuGet Packages. And the packages that you want is going to be Xamarin, Google Play Services Location. And so the IntelliSense already brought that in here. So I've already added this into my application. So basically, it's already in there. So basically what you want to do is just search for Xamarin Google Play Services Location, that NuGet package, and install it. And once you got that installed, what you probably want to do also is go to Tools, Android, and then Android SDK Manager. And then say yes. And then what you want to do is update to a later version of the Android SDK tools and the Google Play services. So right now I've got revision 29, and I tried looking and I don't remember what the minimum revision is, or the minimum version for the Android SDK tools, the platform tools, is to use the Google Play Services API, but if you have at least version 29, or if you just get the latest, or if you have a relatively recent latest version of these Google SDKs here, I think then you'll be fine. If you download the source code and you have compile errors saying that it can't find certain things or that, then you probably need to update your Google Play services and your Android SDK tools. But that's something to know. And just to know that those NuGet packages are just C# wrappers around those SDKs. So you want to make sure those are up to date. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. So we have my main activity here. And I've already created, the instances, for my text views here. But what I am missing is the button text view. So I'm going to go ahead and type that out. Let's see. So, okay, so let's type that out. It's pick a place button equals find view by ID, and then we want a button. Resource ID, I believe I called it main, pick a place button. Okay, so now I've created an instance of that button. And so now I want to create a click event. And then I'm going to create a method. Now I'm going to call it pick a good enough on pick a place button tapped. All right, so what I want to do is create a builder for my place picker. So I'll say var builder equals new place picker intent builder. And so if I look up here, I mean, I'm using the Visual Studio and I'm using ReSharper, but if you're getting a compile error for place picker saying it can't find the class, ReSharper automatically did it for me. But if you don't have ReSharper, or if you don't have that option enabled, you want to make sure you're using the using statement. So you want to include the namespace android.gms.location.places.ui. And that's where all of the classes we're going to be using are going to be residing. So once I build my intent builder, the next step is pretty simple. I want to start that intent. So I'll say start activity for results. And then I'm going to give it an instance of this builder.build this. And then the request code is going to be 1. But I think that number can be anything. But in this case, I'm just going to set it to 1. You can set it to whatever you want. But we'll use some good coding practices, and then we'll just make a constant out of this. So I'll just say private static read only int. We'll say place picker request equals 1. And then we'll just replace that with place picker request. And that's it. And that piece of code should start the, let's go ahead and run that and see what that looks like. Let's see, it's building my application. We're not quite done yet, but I'm just going to show you what that does. Build here seems it's taking a little longer than usual, but it should be starting here momentarily. And here we go. So if I tap on pick a place, it should bring up my Google Place Picker. And there we go. We have the Google Place Picker. And then, okay, so I'll just pick a place, and notice nothing is populated yet, so we have incomplete functionality. I just wanted to show you how easy it was to launch that built-in UI tool. So in order to get a response back from our place picker, what we're going to do is we're going to override our onActivity result. And so we'll say on our activities, we'll say override onActivity result. And then the first thing we'll do, we'll say if request code, which is one of our parameters coming in, request code equals place picker requests, which is our constant we define, and result code equals result code OK. Then we want to get place from picker. And then we'll just go ahead and create a method for that. So, all right. So our request code, as long as our activity, the activity result came from our picker place request, and the result code equals OK, then we'll go ahead and populate our get place from picker, and then we'll go ahead and populate our UI from here. And so what we need to do is actually, let's add a parameter here. Let's add data. Let's add intent. Yeah, we're going to need this data parameter coming back here from our intent. Our intent, we're going to need this. So we'll just go ahead and add that as a parameter. Okay, so now we're going to get our place. So we're going to say var place equals, or let's rename this, place picked. Be a little bit more descriptive there. And then we'll say place picker dot get place, and we'll pass it an instance of this activity, and then the intent that was returned back, or the intent that we started. And so now we're going to have our place picked. So if we can see from IntelliSense, we have, our address, we have latitude and longitude, the coordinate, GPS coordinates, we have the business name, phone number, the website URL, the Google internal, or the Google Places ID. We have locale, places types, price level, ratings, viewport, a little bit of stuff here that could be pretty useful. So now what we want to do is just populate our user interface. So we'll say places, our name text view equals place picked, name formatted. Now, if you notice here, we do have a syntax error, and that is because the name formatted properly for our pick to place is an ichar sequence, but the text view, the text property is a string, and it can't, do the conversion automatically. It can't convert a Java type into a C#.NET type. But we can do that pretty easily by saying .toString. And so just FYI if you want to do that. We also want to do some null checks here and make sure we don't get null reference exceptions here. And if you're not familiar with the null, the new C# 6.0 syntax, this same line is the equivalent of doing something like this. Just if place picked does not equal null and place picked name formatted does not equal null, then So yeah, if you notice, we would have to do that for all of our text views, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code, or 2 lines of code minimum, depending on what your syntax style is, or 4 line, lines you want to do if you want to follow that syntax. Or with the new C# syntax, we can just shorten it by using our null checks right here. So just some cool C# 6.0 syntax, which is available starting with Microsoft Visual Studio 2015 or Xamarin Studio 6, which as of today you can download from the alpha channel. All right, so we'll go ahead and populate our name. And then next is our address. We'll populate that. And then the phone number. And then lastly, our website, I believe. Let's see, place picked, website URI, to string. All right, and I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and run it. That's compiling, it's deploying right now, so we should see it in our simulator here soon. All right, so we'll go ahead and pick a place. And I'll just take a moment here to kind of show you the functionality. So the place picker gives you a Google map here, so you can see, where your current location, and you can actually drag the map and then move around and see and set your new current location. And then if you slide this up here, and it'll show you the nearby places. So we have San Francisco Honda, Conservatory of Music, Fit Fight Training Center, and some other places. Or if you notice, you have a little hourglass here. So if you do a search, so if you tap on that, you can do a search. So we'll say coffee. And this is the coffee shops that are closest to my location. Or if I wanted to search for movies, it'll give you that search location for all of that. So we'll just say San Francisco Honda. We'll go ahead and pick that. We'll pick it, and then, well, it looks like I had some didn't populate the UI quite correctly here. So for my name, it should have been the name here. So let's see what I did wrong. Let's see, place name. Yep. Place website text view. So name, address, phone number, websites. Name, address, phone number, website. All right, let's do that one more time. All right, we'll pick a place, and let's pick something else. Let's do, sure, the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. Pick that. And there we go. We got our name, San Francisco Conservatory of Music. We got our address, our formatted address. So the address returns the street, comma, city, comma, state, zip code, and then country. And looks like it's all delimited by commas. And then the phone number is a country code, area code, and whatnot. And then we have the website. Also, we'll go ahead and stop this. If most likely you'll probably need something more useful like GPS. So if we say place pick dot, the lat long property, then we have latitude and longitude. So for my specific application, I needed the GPS coordinates for nearby places, and so that those two properties, you'll be able to extract those out. So pretty neat, right? Pretty simple, good functionality. And just a rehash, what you want to do is create an instance. You want to create an intent builder. So you want to create a new instance of placepicker.intentBuilder. And then you want to start an activity for result. You want to say builder.build, pass it an instance of this activity, and our request code, which is going to be 1 in this case. And then you want to override the on activity result. So when the place picker returns the place back to our activity, this is the method that's going to fire once it returns back. And then we want to use some good programming practices, and we want to verify that the activity that gave us data is the place picker that we actually set, and that the result code is okay. And then we want to fire off a method called getPlaceFromPicker. And then getPlaceFromPicker, you say placepicker.getPlace, pass it an instance of this activity and an instance of the intent. And then from there, you just populate your UI from name formatted, address, phone number, website, GPS location, and whatnot. And this is Ruben from sharpmobilecode.com. If you want to leave a comment or you have any questions, go ahead. Feel free to leave a comment on the blog or on the YouTube video. And I will leave the source code up in GitHub and hope you guys enjoy it.